Hey, what's up, everybody? I got something a little different for you. So I went to C2E2 over the weekend with my buddy, and we wanted to go to the Bushi Road booth because we were hoping they had some really cool Vanguard stuff, and they had it was okay, right? They had promos for you to get for doing the teaching fight or whatever. Uh, and you got to take pictures with like some of the anime characters from the new season of Divine, whatever, right? It wasn't. It felt more like a White Schwartz booth just from like what they had to offer, like in terms of like products you could buy from them. But they had this demo going on for the PalWorld TCG, and this game is still kind of in its beta. And they were like, if you guys would like to try it, it's free. So me and my buddy decided to try it. And what I want to do is kind of give you guys the explanation of how the game works so far until they change something, right? And then to kind of give my thoughts and opinions on it. While I'm explaining this, I will probably compare this game to a couple of other card games. Um, so hopefully you're somewhat familiar with some of them. If you're not, don't worry about it. It'll we're gonna get through this just fine, right? So let's talk about how the game is supposed to start off. So both players start with a five-card hand, and they are uh, if you go second, you get to get an extra copy of Soul for your turn, which we'll explain in a second. Uh, they said the mulligan rules are like a full mulligan, but that is very like that can change. Um, but one of the things you'll do is you will draw for turn. You will untap all of your cards, similar to Vanguard, and then in a separate deck, your Soul deck, you will get two Soul a turn, which is your mana for this game to play out your creatures. So it's kind of like Force of Will, where they have the deck on the side, but instead of getting only one, you're getting two a turn, which I think is really interesting. I think it's been like a little bit since I've done it. I think League of Legends kind of has something similar to this, where they get to a turn, but I don't quite remember because I've only played it one time. Uh, but you have, your mana system for the game, similar to Magic, Force of Will, all that kind of stuff, right? And then you have this main phase for a turn, and this main phase is sort of everything for the game. So if you've played like Digimon or you played Dragon Ball Fusion World, it's exactly like that is where you can play creatures, you can attack the player, you can play more creatures, attack the player again, whatever like you want, like any actions you could take will be in the main phase pretty much. So there's no like distinct battle phase for the game, which is an aspect that I really like because I like, especially when I play Fusion War with my buddy, a lot of the times I'll like swing into something, draw a card, and I'll draw like a playable card, like a card that I actually wanted to play for my turn. So I think that being able to just like swing first or like play cards first and attack, whatever. I think, however, the player is allowed to do it is my preferred way versus like for like these types of games versus like something like Yu-Gi-Oh, where you have a distinct main phase, a distinct battle phase, a distinct main phase too, right? And then there's the end phase of the turn, and the goal is to get your opponent down to from 10 life to 0 life. For the tutorial, they only let us play with 3 life because they didn't want the game taking too long, which was kind of weird, but that's whatever. Um, and the damage system in the game revolves around. I mean, I can show you a little chickpea here. You see how he has this little one right here? This little one is how much damage he deals to the player. And when the player takes damage, they send the top card of their deck to the graveyard, uh, which I think it's like from like the Bakugan game, like the revamp, I think. But if you look for a trigger, kind of like Vanguard, you look to see if there's a trigger in the corner. If there isn't, it just goes there. But if there is a trigger in the corner, which I have one right here, you get to not take the damage, which I think is really cool. Um, but yeah, I'll go into the quick types really quick of like cards. So you have your basic guy. This is Chickpea. He doesn't have an effect, but he's adorable. You have these. These are event cards. So event cards are kind of like spell cards, but there were only two in the deck. The guy said they didn't know like if you would be able to do this during both players' turn, but he said so far it was open to doing both players' turns because they're still in the beta for this. You'll see I have a gun here, and I it it was the funniest thing when the guy was like, "Yeah, just play like all the cards were numbered in the demo deck." I was like, "Yeah, play card like 5 or whatever," and it was like, "You're letting me play a gun and shoot my opponent's pal?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I was like, that was kind of funny. But it's like a gear card. This is basically kind of like a artifact from Magic, or you could call it a enchantment, where it just kind of sits on the board. It has an on enter, but it also like has an on board effect too that you can do every turn. This would be something like a vehicle from Magic. This is like a structure, so you can assign pals to this to get to like draw cards or do other things. But these are also separate from your pals. So if your opponent like because it has a power on it, you can see here this like 6,000. If your opponent wants to kill this, they can attack into this and it'll die. The pal with it will not go away. That card's backwards. There we go. And then the other type would be the pals that have the trigger effect. Um, and a lot of them have different. So the first one I showed, the chickpea only had one, but this one has a total of 2 damage and has 8,000 power. There's a lot of varying ones in the deck that have like more power or more like player damage, right? They told us the colors didn't exactly matter right now, which I mean I'm sure they'll matter later on, but basically, when you're flipping these, you are like when you're taking damage, you are preventing the damage, which is really cool. And then this card isn't quite like it doesn't have a specific name, but this pal has an ability of interrupt. So you have something that you can do during your opponent's turn if you have open, like untapped soul, or if you have, uh, you want to pay the extra cost, which is discarding 2 cards pretty much. Um, but that is kind of the basic gist of the game. Uh, it's kind of like it's like a lot of other card games put together, you know, and obviously it's definitely like Pokemon because you're collecting these like little creatures and stuff like that. Um, but it is another like kind of not magic ripoff, but like magic improvement because you don't have your lands in your or you don't have your mana in your deck. You have it on like a side deck, which is nice. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of the game, and kind of where I want to talk about uh, how I felt about the game. I felt the game was enjoyable, which I didn't want to say because I'm not like super excited that this is the card game that's going to be getting a worldwide release when Bushi Road could have done something with Vanguard to improve it because I believe that to me Vanguard has always been their like main game. It feels like not that like things like Shadowverse isn't like an actual like game or anything like that, but Shadowverse and has felt more like a like side project for them. Like I haven't fully based off the couple years that I've like heard stuff about Shadowverse, it doesn't feel like they're necessarily ready to like make it a main game. Like you know what I mean. Well, maybe I'm not wording this right, but they're with like companies like Konami, like they're like, listen, Yu-Gi-Oh is our main game. We're pushing this really hard. We want you to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Whereas it always felt like they were trying to push Vanguard very hard, but they never knew how to do it correctly. And then like you know, Shadowverse, it feels like they're like, yeah, we have it, kind of. I won't say anything about White Shorts because I don't have anything good to say about that game, but it's kind of it's an this game was okay to play, I'll say. But I don't think this game, for me personally, warrants picking up because it just feels like it sort of feels like another way like to play the the Magic-esque card games, which if that is like your forte, you should do it 100%. But I kind of like how like the games that I really like, which would be Yu-Gi-Oh and Vanguard, there's no mana system and the games feel very unique compared to other games. Whereas like most Magic like kind of rip-offs or improvements, I should say, because I think Magic is pretty bad. Most Magic improvement games at the end of the day just feel very similar. I just don't think that's worth any of my time or like even like a penny like to me. But who knows? Maybe if it's cheap, I will try to pick up like some stuff for this. But that's kind of all I have on this specific topic. Uh, it was just, it was a free deck, so I figured we may as well do it, right? But that's it for this one. Going back to my regular content, Wednesday? Probably Wednesday, yeah. It was just, this was something I just kind of wanted to get out there because I was like, you know what? I went there. I want to talk about my thoughts and feelings. But yeah, that'll do it for this one. One last thing before I go. I will say, I think them including like the penguin that interacts with your opponent, I think is really important because it feels like for the most part, like Bushiroad doesn't tend to want games with like heavy player interaction during the opponent's turn. Obviously, I know you have some interactions you can do with Shadow versus Evolve. Um, White Schwartz, I'm not 100% sure on, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing you can do during your opponent's turn. Uh, Vanguard, there used to be, but we're long past the premium days, right? But I think that it's really cool that this game has some form of interacting with your opponent, and I hope they actually branch on to that if they, you know, when they're actually making the real cards for this. Because again, this is just the beta. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I'll catch you guys Wednesday. Peace out.